Hello, my name is Roz and this is my very first podcast about the general election 2017. A day in the life of, or life as it goes along, of a canvasser. The reason I was going to do this, I have another podcast called Nitty Gritty London, which as you can imagine is not about anything to do with politics. And I'm not here to persuade people of the way that they should vote. What I am here for is to describe my experiences, because when I thought about volunteering for this general election, I thought it'd be a really good idea, but I didn't find anybody sort of describing their experiences. And so if anyone's thinking about it, I'd like to say what it's like from where I am. I think it's very difficult to be involved in an election. So many people didn't vote last time. So many people were told if you don't like it, don't moan, that's democracy, you gotta vote. And yet, just doing one vote doesn't seem like we get a lot of control of what's going on. And so a lot of people I know vote and then they still say, well, my vote wasn't worth anything. Nothing I can do where I live anyway, because everybody always votes the way they vote. But there is a lot more that you can do, even if you have an hour, let alone an evening or a day or any spare time. You can be involved, and I'm talking whichever party. You can be involved, and I would encourage you to, if you can, with putting a poster in your window, with leafleting, with phoning people, with volunteering in all manner of ways in order to help. Continuing. So when I first began to volunteer, there was some trepidation. I didn't know what it was going to be like, what would be expected, and how would it work? Would people slam doors in my face? Would I be expected to know everything? Would I get some figures wrong? Could I just be in the background? And so I thought I would share this experience with you as it goes on from day to day. I don't know how often I'll be going, maybe 2 or 3 times a week to do something. And today I'm going to be leafleting in my local area in North London. So I haven't done any leafleting for quite some time. I will be joining, I'll be joining the local association with its candidates. I'm not sure whether the leafleting is going to be just putting leaflets in or banging the door and asking people who they're going to vote for, whether we're going to get abuse, or if people will be very nice. Which would be lovely, but I know it is politics, and so it divides people. It's not something you recommend that people take these arguments to dinner parties, etc. So they are things that people get divided over. Plus, I think when we're going is going to be when people come home, and that's deliberate. It's like 6 until 8. Or 8:30, depending how things go. And you can see why they would pick that time, because you'll catch people. However, I'm very aware that that's when you don't want to be caught, because you're making food or trying to get kids' homework done or sitting down and finally relaxing in front of a TV show. So I'm going to have an open mind here. I feel like a real novice, and I'm sure I'll be taken around by some experts. I don't know that I should be representing any party by myself. I hope we'll go in twos. So, and then tomorrow I'm planning to go to the headquarters and work in the office there on the phones, and that will be phoning around the country, which I think will be really interesting, because we can often be in a bubble here in London and think we know which way things are going, and yet if we get given a different area to talk to people, be interesting to see what's happening there as well, and how people are feeling, and how fed up they are with the election, or how excited they are about it, and things like that. So there'll be a little bit of an inside thing. And my feeling also about this, besides the fact that I want to have my part to play in the democratic process and to be involved, I think the other side of it is that I will get to really see, besides just what you hear on the TV and what the polls are, which I'm not convinced, because all the recent elections have taught you not to trust the polls. So I seriously think anything could happen. Not one vote has been cast yet, and yeah, who knows? There is all to play for on every side. And I do think that talking to people beyond one's own friendship group, because I think that's the worst place to we know that from Brexit. Everyone seemed to think it was going to go one way, and then when I talked to them a lot about, well, who did you talk to? Why are you surprised about this? Because I was involved with Brexit. I did do some work with that as well, with the volunteering of canvassing, and I wasn't surprised at how it worked out, because I was talking to people from all over, and I began to realise it was a lot more 50-50 than my London friends believed. So let's see what happens with this one. I consider it a privilege to be able to talk to people from up and down the country and see whether there are any trends, whether it moves, whether things go up and down, as far as my experience is. But tonight it's just going to be my local area. Given that it's in London, you can probably guess which way it's going to go. But maybe there's going to be a shake-up. Let's see.